On this episode, we discuss Winter Championship preliminary hype. What are people playing top tier? What are people losing with? And all those pesky numbers and statistics so you don't have to. Bradford Lee is getting ready to travel for his own tournament opportunities. And has Just Soup found a soulmate for life? All that and more. DRC starts right now.
You're listening to the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast.
DRC, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast. This is episode 55, and if you're not part of the live stream, Matt just threw up the fact that we're halfway to 110. That is that a milestone? You know,
it's a total milestone.
You didn't like my other milestones, Matt, but you like this milestone. Are you just trying to piss me off? Is that what this is?
we count things differently down here, Mike.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
It's like the mega milestone here. So it's 55 and 110.
Yeah, okay.
None of these 50 and 100 stuff. I mean,
no. Oh, it's the metric system. That's what this is.
Yeah, we have
Oh, okay.
If you adjust for like Imperial versus metric for milestones, it actually works out pretty close to 55 and 110.
Okay, all right.
It's like 54.95 and like 109.8 or something. But
okay.
Yeah, it's close.
So how many drop bears are in a gaggle of drop bears?
Well, it's the number changes because sometimes, like particularly this year, they just have eaten one another, and so there's only like one or two.
Oh damn! Okay, all right, so they're endangered.
One, but like if you catch it at the start, there'll be like 7 and a couple of babies, and they're just everything is just like so eat one another, and it's over.
Jesus! So in case you're wondering, this is a Hearthstone podcast. And you were just listening to the fantastic voice of Matt Musher Hill. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good. It's 8:30 in the morning. I turn off my alarm, and so it's a miracle I made it. I think I need to get you start doing like a wake up call and just like not answer until I answer. Just force me out of my bed, Mike. I've been trying to conquer the inner bitch in the morning. You know that feeling when it's like, oh man, I just want to go back to bed. Screw this shit. That's your inner bitch, and in order to get shit done during the day, you need to conquer that thing.
That's right.
And so I've been taking steps towards conquering it, and just
got to do it.
It's you got to get there. But other than that, not much. Being a sad panda.
Oh, sad drop there.
Emo panda. Yeah, no, I found out that I must have missed out on the Australia New Zealand Hearthstone preliminaries by like 5 or 6 spots or something, because I got a message from my mate last night. He's like, check your fucking email. I was like, fuck off. And then he's like, no, my mate got in and he was rank 5 when they did the cut. And I was like rank 5 when they did the cut. But
whoa,
I think I was like rank 5 with like 1 or 2 stars. And he must have like all the stars or something.
Oh.
TLDR, he had more stars than me. But if I had just a little bit more effort put in and a little more successful win rate, I might have been in. But coulda, woulda, shoulda, young Mikey. But the fun fact, it answers one of the things I had on the list to talk about later in the day was what the fuck's going on with the Australia New Zealand thing. But the invites have been sent out, the stage has been set, and it's all G. So I'm doing good.
Perfect. Mr. Bradford Lee, what's going on?
Not much. I have been getting ready for the winter prelims in North America.
Yes.
So I've been doing a lot of deck testing. What did you say, Mushu?
I said a real reason.
Oh, real region, yes. Where you have to get above rank 5 to make prelims.
Where points count or something. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently. So I've been getting ready for that. Been testing a lot of decks. Played in very little tournaments because of it this week. Also, because I'm in the winter prelims, they locked my Battlefy account because it's like specifically they don't want you to like have access to the tournament before you actually started, I guess, or like turn in your deck lists and stuff. And so I haven't been able to like play on any Battlefy ones either because of that, which is kind of weird. I'm sure I could have talked to somebody, but I just didn't really care.
It's interesting to me that that's the only way they could do it is to lock your account rather than just lock the tournament itself.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I'm not really that worried about
all the tournaments. All the Battlefied tournaments have fallen off in terms of participation. The one that I registered for the other night and didn't attend, the one I asked if you were going to play, the Union Open or whatever.
Yeah,
only had like 85 people play.
I'm assuming that has something to do with the North American prelim people not being able to compete.
Yeah, there's 130 something players not playing because they can't. Oh yeah. Shit! Maybe we should. Mike, tournaments.
Get on it now.
Yeah, this is the time.
Yeah.
All the plebs are there.
Perfect.
Rock 'em.
That's perfect for me then. I'll make it.
Yeah, so I've just been getting ready for tournament. That's pretty much my week.
Nice. All right.
When are you leaving?
When am I leaving? I'm leaving. So right now it's for me, it's Wednesday evening. And I'm leaving Friday in the morning towards Seattle. I'll be getting in. So this is actually, this is really cool actually. The Magic the Gathering regional PTQs are the same weekend. So they're like they do, it's basically like the step below Pro Tour for Magic. And you have to like qualify for the regional PTQs because they have like a PPTQ, a pre-PTQ or whatever, or PTQ, whatever. Anyway. And so my friend is locked in for that. And so he's going to that major tournament in Seattle and I'm going to this major tournament in Seattle. So we're like, it worked out perfect. We're going to carpool together. He gave me a place to stay. Like I was able to basically cut a lot of the expense for the trip down because of that. So I'm leaving Friday with him and then he plays in his tournament on Saturday. It's only a 1-day tournament for him. And then if I don't do well, we're actually going to go back to play in another tournament in Spokane, Washington, as we head back to home in Idaho, because of the fact that it's basically another PPTQ for Magic that we'll be playing in if I don't do well. So like, even if I don't do well, at least I got to go have fun and play Magic. But if I do well, then make some monies. I'm going to go crush people, destroy other people's dreams, hopefully. You know, the usual.
The usual, yeah.
Yeah, nothing new here.
Well, Mr. Jessup, Mr. Tom Soup, Mr. Just Soup, Tom Soup, what's going on?
It's been a pretty slow week on multiple fronts. I've been doing a lot of studying. My brain is racked with all sorts of Chinese and philosophy, and biology. Yeah, pretty shitty. Really shitty on the front of Hearthstone. However, I was really emo last week about how bad I was doing because I was like skyrocketing up with this awesome mid-range druid deck and shitting on all the secret pallies and get those guys. And then I hit rank 8 and then I just drop and then I drop and then I drop and then I drop back down to 12 and almost hit 13. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. It's like,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So how does it even happen? 2 weeks in the
Well, here's one thing. Tilting is bad.
Yeah.
And I haven't figured out the right balance of like when I need to stop and take a small break and then go back to it.
I find yelling into my pillow is very, very therapeutic. I like there's sometimes where I just need to like, oh, and I'll be all right. Just like vent, like micro express the pure rage you're experiencing.
My bandwidth of rage is it's really, really fine. So I just have to let it out like at a constant stream. I just can't like open it up like that and just get rid of all of it and then be fine, which is really unfortunate. But I got back up. I hit rank 6 today. And I'm at rank 7 right now, juggling in between there, trying to find the sanity and the time to keep playing because I've got fuck all to do. So, but today I played mainly just Hearthstone, and last night I played a lot of Hearthstone, and I've been streaming me raging at Hearthstone and the occasional bits here and there of Rocket League. So,
yes,
I saw you getting wrecked at Rocket League, Bradford. You're terrible.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the support. Those new levels are sweet, though. Even though I do suck at that game.
So, are you playing on the PlayStation?
No, I'm on a computer.
Okay, so I'm on the computer too. So now we have Rivals of Aether and Rocket League. We gotta play together.
Yes.
How did you get the new levels?
The new levels, they're like Rocket Labs. Rocket Labs is the mode.
Oh, okay. All right.
You'll see it. Trust me.
It's like DRC date night here.
Yeah.
Tonight we're matching up Just Soup and Bradford Lee.
Yeah.
Brad brought Tom. Mike brought his little dog.
Yeah.
I brought my bottle of vodka.
Ooh. That's
I'm
nice.
a 6'3" white boy
Boss.
from Idaho.
so you're exotic, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Wait, you're 6'3"?
Am I? I think I'm like 6'2".
Way.
actually.
Are you really that tall?
Jesus
Mhm.
fucking
No
Christ.
way.
So tall.
No
6'2".
way.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought you were a short lad. Like all the pictures I've seen of you, you look like you don't look that tall. But
All
this.
All his friends must be
Man.
freaking Goliath, I guess, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only hang out with 7-footers. It's just like my thing.
A short plebs ain't got time for. Yes.
How's Mr. Tux? How's
Mr. Tux is fantastic. He's making his Hearthstone debut. He was outside the door whining and pawing at the door.
Oh,
So he's going to be on the show tonight. Yeah, let's see. Today, I played against Demigod from Vicious Syndicate. And
Was he playing his aggro shaman?
it was Aggro Shaman, actually. And I
He's like a
shreked
one
him.
trick.
And I shreked him. You know, unfortunately, what it was? It was in Tavern Brawl. Wah, wah, wah.
Points don't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So
were the scores made up and the points don't matter?
exactly, yeah. So no, it was good. He was a good sport too. So a shout out to Vicious Syndicate and Demigod. One day, maybe you'll be as good as me. Maybe.
Maybe you'll be a god.
Yeah.
You'll be a god like Mike.
Yeah.
Maybe.
My my Murloc Paladin it was too much for him. He could not handle it.
I feel like if you come out of Tavern Brawl raging, you need to have a look at your life.
Right.
There are probably some bigger issues going on with yourself than losing her at Hearthstone Tavern Brawl.
Yeah.
So that's just me.
So that was my one win in Tavern Brawl this week. So I didn't open the pack
solid.
yet because I was wondering if he's going to get salty, and I'm sure he didn't. But in case he's like on the edge, I'm going to open the pack on the show here, and we're going to see what we get.
Oh, shoot.
So, all right. So we got a Jungle Panther,
Yes.
Ice Lance. All right.
That's a good one.
All right. Void Terror.
Oh, there's
Such
your
a bad
rare.
pack.
Come on, Ragnaros. No. Snipe and Blessing of Wisdom. So actually,
Two playable cards.
I think he won out, actually.
He won.
I think I got trolled with my pack here.
Yeah, no, dude. Time to quit.
Yeah.
What is this week's Tavern Brawl? Is it any good?
It is, what was it? You are taunt. Your champion has taunt.
Whoa.
Yeah, it
So
was
like face
oh,
on.
it's almost
Got
like
it.
magic, kind of.
yeah. Mage is pretty strong.
Except you can't block.
Yeah, so that was pretty much it. Played a lot of Zoo this week, and I was talking before we started recording. I went on a huge win streak until I played 3 Reno locks in a row and said, "Nope, I'm done."
Reno
Lock. I had to bail out at that point, but
Duck.
yeah,
Bat.
yeah, I know, right?
Duck fat. I like that.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. But as far as the rest of the show goes, the tournament that I went to, because I wasn't here last week, I keep forgetting
Battle.
Oh yeah.
that. Battle and Brew.
Battle and Brew.
That episode's being put together, and long story short, I was not able to stay the entire time. They went late, like till 2 or 2:30, before it was over.
In the morning?
Yeah.
That's not
Jeez.
uncommon. That's not uncommon with I guess first time Hearthstone tournament
Right.
runnings when they try and they tried to run a double limb tournament.
No, it was single limb, but I think it was just a number of people. And
So did they not put a cap on it?
there was it was a 64, not on the time, no.
Okay.
No. There was just I saw a couple people roping when they didn't need to, as in
I don't think that's not what makes it like go until 2 a.m.
when we were watching and the place was like where the game was happening was empty and everyone else was up at the. I mean, I'll talk about it on the show. I won't give away too much, but when you got done, basically you went up to this desk area and that's where they call out, who you're playing against next. When everyone's up there and there's like 4 people sitting at the table still, and no one's playing, like, it's not Control Warrior versus Control Warrior or something like that. Let's just say I saw someone play Face Hunter, and turn one, they roped out a leper gnome.
Yeah, but it's like some I know
That's a
it
solid
seems
strategy.
like he's being a bit of a dick, definitely. But
Yeah,
like,
there's a little
I don't
bit of
know,
that.
Some people use that time to just seriously just plan out what's going to happen on each turn.
But it's Face Hunter. It's
But like so while it's kind of a dick move, you're fully entitled to that whole turn. I think.
sure. I still think it's a dick move, though.
Oh, definitely. No one's disputing it's a dick move, but it's an entitled dick move.
Yeah. So that being said, I wasn't able to interview the winners, but I am actually going to be interviewing one of the winners, or I guess the winner, one of the finalists, but the winner tomorrow night. So I'll have that for the episode. That should be coming out very shortly. Like I said, it was going to be different than our normal talk show type show. It's going to be more of a narrative piece. So look forward to that, and we'll have that. And I keep forgetting to do the giveaway. So for the giveaway, all you got to do is follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, or write into us at mail@deathrattlecrew.com with an email, and you'll get 5 entries for that, and it's 1 entry per month if you just follow us. So and we're going to give away $20 Hearthstone gift card, and Mr. Greg Arroyo, I hope I spelled that right, pronounced that right, Arroyo. I'll be sending you a message with your gift card. So congratulations, thanks for following, and that's all you got to do to also get the gift card is follow us.
Thanks for playing.
Yeah. So that's. I think that's pretty much it for intro, guys. Anything else? Am I forgetting anything? No.
Emails?
Bradford Lee might want to share.
We'll do those during Meta Anatomy, I think.
Okay, sounds good. I guess they're very specifically tuned towards
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We got some juicy ones.
Yeah, we did. We actually got some really good ones.
I like it a lot.
But before we get to Meta Anatomy, we have to go in case you missed it.
It's growing on you, isn't it?
I hate you guys.
In case you missed it, he hates us now.
DRC would like to thank Brainiacs for their support of this podcast. If you have a tech idea for improving your business's workflow, Brainiacs can provide a turnkey solution to specifically fit your needs. You can contact them at www.brainiux.com. And welcome back. This is In Case You Missed It. I'm Tac2, joined by Mushu, Just Soup, and Bradford Lee. And I don't like it, but it's fun to say it.
I like when you say it more than anything.
I like when I say it too, but that, like you said, more than anything. Like, I like anything more than the name of that. Any fin is better than that. Oh, I see it. Oh man, well played, sir. Well played. So we have some news. Who wants to do the news? Who wants to start the news? Matt, are you going to start the news?
This was Bradford's added bit. So the young Bradford Lee, Mr. Winter Prelim qualifying member, can roll this one out.
Yeah. So basically today on Polygon there was an article put out. Just basically it got on the front page of Reddit, but I think it's kind of important news. It's that, it was supposed to be talking about like, the Blizzard's way of approaching the Hearthstone community moving forward. Like I think the title was like a new radical approach, but from within that article, there was actually some things that I think were more interesting, to me at least, than like the community management strategies and things like that. What came out of that article that I thought was really interesting was they've been talking about with the new standard coming out, some cards that they're considering retooling. And they specifically mentioned Leper Gnome and Knife Juggler. So that is perhaps maybe not going to happen, but they're at least considering retooling Leper Gnome and Knife Juggler. So that's worth considering and thinking about when you're looking at standard moving forward. I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind, that like, oh, we might not have Knife Juggler. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be playing Unleash the Hounds as much anymore, or maybe Unleash isn't as good, or like, oh, Leper Gnome's getting retooled. Cool, we're gonna have a better 1-drop options available to us with no Zombie Chows, no Leper Gnomes anymore. Like it's gonna, and those are obviously very important pieces to a lot of the aggressive decks as of right now. And that shift up, I think, really signifies kind of what we should expect from the new standard. We should expect new aggro decks, I guess, is what I should say. Decks that aren't just going to be like, all right, what's my 1-drop? Leper Gnome. What's my 2-drop? Knife Juggler. Okay, let's go from there. You know, like those aren't going to happen. Like, we aren't going to have the piloted Shredder or Knife Juggler or Leper Gnome test anymore as much. So that's kind of big news coming from it. Another thing that came out of this particular article was that before it used to go a large expansion, then a solo adventure, then a large expansion, then a solo adventure. And apparently what's going to be happening now is it's going to be the year cycle for Hearthstone is going to be one large expansion. So we'll say like March will be a large expansion. And then during the summertime, we should expect a solo adventure. And then during the fall season, we should expect, right before BlizzCon is when I would expect this, another expansion. So that's going to be the new cycle. We're going to have expansion, solo adventure, expansion for the year. That's the year cycle. And then the next year will come and the next standard rotation will happen, basically. And then we'll go expansion, solo adventure, expansion again, same way. And one thing that's interesting about that is the expansions, at least it says here, it says, if this new formula were to stay consistent, the much bigger expansions would greatly outnumber the smaller and more single player focused adventures. So like, that doesn't necessarily say that the expansions are going to be bigger than the numbers that they already have in cards, because currently we're expecting about 150 cards in the current next expansions, and most expansions for the most part. But that with this new potential lineup where it goes expansion, adventure, expansion, there's going to be one less solo adventure throughout the whole year cycle. And that potentially means that we should expect, I maybe not expect, but it gives a hint that maybe the expansions will have more cards inside of them. So I think there's a lot of clues towards the upcoming months in Hearthstone based on this particular article, which I think is important for players who want to kind of understand, get a little foresight into what's going on in Hearthstone moving forward.
I feel like that's better for your more casual, your casual players, your pay or play to win. Free to play. That's what I was looking for. There you go. Yeah, free to play. There you go. Players as opposed to your pay to win or your streamers or your pros.
Everybody else.
Basically,
people with fat stacks with Hearthstone cash.
Yeah. We're talking about every 4 months now. That's how we've always been though, haven't we? Or has it been every 3 months?
I think it's been a little bit longer than that.
Okay.
It's longer than 4 months. It's like 5 and a bit.
Has it? Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
4 months. 4 months last a while at the moment.
I'm glad we're getting. If this is how it's going to be, I'm glad I like the idea of adventure expansion as opposed to
I do too.
more adventures than expansions, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a huge fan personally because I like the idea of having 2 solo adventures, just more ability to shake up the meta throughout the year.
Yeah.
So I worry that, and this is the first year of this, and so they're testing it a bit. But I worry that maybe if we miss one of those solo adventures come Christmas time or December next year, maybe not Christmas time. It's not always, other people have religions, right? But come December time, there might be this kind of lull where it's like, okay, it's December, everybody's kind of understood the format, and then all of a sudden it's like February this time next year, and everyone's like, all right, when's the next set coming out? And it's like, oh, it's coming out in March, and the last set came out in early fall, and that time frame is going to potentially be the long time frame, and that kind of potential longer time frame scares me a little bit.
Yeah,
because that could be even up to 8 months if they if they stick with a schedule of only one expansion, only one adventure, only one expansion per year, or only 2 expansions, only one adventure per year. Because if they're doing it like the 4th month of the year, the 8th month of the year, and then the 12th month of the year, then it would be on a 4-month rotation. But I wouldn't suspect that's how it's going to happen. I would suspect it's going to be the last expansion drops before BlizzCon, because from a promotional standpoint, that makes more sense for them. Unless if their idea is like specifically, hey, we're going to promote during the holiday season when people are spending more money. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, obviously. But I'm a little bit hesitant to not have that 4th adventure or 4th release throughout the year time frame.
Well, one thing I would hope they would do to kind of make up for that and increase the size of the card pool that we have for standard is just to put more cards into the sets. And that's one of the things that I liked when it came to Magic. I was really hoping that, you know, every time a set came out, there was going to be a lot of different things, and that's kind of like what you got. Like you is shitty way to word this, but there was like 300 cards a set in like the big sets, right? Brad, you remember this?
Yeah, that's about what you have in a Magic set is about 300.
And they released it a little differently because at the time they were doing 4 sets a year, and it was like one block, which was 3 sets, and one big set, and then 2 small sets, which was usually a thing. And then they did some different things here and there, and then they had a core set. The best thing I liked about that. Shut up!
Let's just do that. Matt just drew a penis inside of our Skype chat. I'm just going to say it. That's why we're laughing. It's funny.
No, we're not little children.
No.
I was trying to do words, and this guy's like 8 = D over here. So it's hard. It's hard on me.
Okay.
Anyways, so one of the problems that runs into when you have a lot of cards in one set is like the power creep or whatever. But I want to see less net decking, more so in this proposition. I know. I want to see less net decking and more experimental things. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think one of the ways to do that or attempt to do that is put in more cards per set at least.
But like, I don't think you have to have both of those things lumped in together. Those things can be, mutually exclusive, rather. And just because there's people net deck doesn't mean there's not innovation. I mean, I think that's sort of almost an entitled statement to say that, like, my creation is going to be mine and only mine. No one else is going to play it because it's not going to be net decked. But I guess, like, it's a very sort of there's definitely going to be a period of, I guess, new shit being made, which is going to be fantastic. But as soon as that new shit is made, it's going to go up on Hearthstone and people are going to try it out, and that's what net decking is.
Yeah, right.
Particularly in Hearthstone, where it's like arguably a necessity. Like at these days, I don't know anyone who just bangs out their own deck. Everyone starts with like a similar archetype and builds from there and takes out from there.
And that wasn't always the case with Magic, where people were like always trying new decks and stuff. But one of the reasons that people did play a lot of experimental things in Magic was because, like, you go to FNM and you're going to have these guys that are like hardcore tournament grinders, and I'm like, oh, I'm playing this tier 1 deck, or oh, I'm teching in for this deck and this whatever, my sideboard's this. And then there are people that are like, I like to play Magic for fun, and I'm here at Friday Night Magic because I want to hang out with my friends and eat things and, drink Mountain Dew and stay up till 12 in the morning. And like, they would bring fun decks and just dick around. And that was a thing, but that's not going to happen so much in Hearthstone because of the way the game is. That being said, I still want more experimental things. It makes the game more fun. And
you're about to get it. Like they're retooling 20, 30 of the old cards, and then you're getting 100 new cards. I mean, what more could you want, Bradley?
More cards.
Yeah, that's just what I want. I just want more cards.
Okay, so like, this is selfish of me to want this, but like, I want more sets because I think I get a bit better competitive advantage when new sets come out, because I feel confident in my ability to be one of those people who, like, tools in my own deck together and doesn't net deck right on day one, because like that's a skill that I feel like I've acquired from playing Magic a lot. So I feel like it's maybe a little selfish for me to want that, but I also understand that, like, a shift in the meta is also good from like a game standpoint, but I also understand that, like, it's bad for new players because it means that new players have to constantly do this arms race. It's like this race to, like, spend money or save gold or spend dust or, or grind for more cards because they're coming out at a rate that's too fast for the average player to keep up with. So I understand why we're seeing this new schedule and why we're seeing this new plan, and it makes sense. Granted, what's interesting to me about this is that now we're going to live in a world where most people are going to have, once they've played the game for 6 to 8 months or so, they're going to have most of the cards by the time the next set comes out. So by that point, if somebody invests in the new set coming out, at that point you can start saving your gold for the next set. and you should be able to be in a sense free to play moving forward, because you should be able with a 4-month gap, you should be able to do your daily quests if you do those kind of things. Get your pack from Tavern Brawl. There's enough accessibility for getting cards and dust and gold to potentially not have to spend that much, if any, money on future sets. Now, we'll see obviously how that plays out, but I think that's maybe the strategy they're going with, because I think maybe at this point their biggest concern is retention rate, and because they've got a big audience at this point. Hearthstone has grown and grown and grown, and the audience is large now. Now I think it's a question for them of how do we keep that audience, and the way I think you keep that audience is, one, keep it fresh, but don't overburden the player by presenting too many things to get, and two, give them the ability to not have to spend like $200 with every set in order to catch up and have all the cards, and the time frame that they currently have set for that gives that ability to people, because a solo adventure is going to be the most expensive thing probably, because you're going to have to spend a lot of gold to get to it, because you have to also purchase the cards that aren't necessarily playable in the solo adventure, as well as the cards that will be played heavily. But in like a normal release, you can just craft the cards that you're going to play with at first, and then slowly build towards the rest of the cards that you want for it. Unless if you're someone that wants to collect every single golden card, in which case, maybe you're more likely to spend a couple dollars on packs at the first of the new set to get like your collection built, and then start moving into that from there on out.
Yeah, I mean, what do we think normally? How much do you guys spend on the full release?
All of my coins. No, I try and like save up. I'll straight up just buy adventures these days.
Yeah,
I paid for Nax with gold every subsequent adventure.
Yeah.
I just sort of just paid straight out gold, but I'll try and buy 30 packs or so, like save up a bunch of gold for things. So I got like 2k gold at the moment, so I aim to have like at least 3 or 4k by the time this new set comes out, so I can buy like I guess a booster box equivalent of packs with gold. So that's my aim, and then buy like a 60 pack with money.
So I'm wondering, like, at what point unless you're just like hunting for legendaries, at what point does it like diminish returns? Do you guys feel like 50 packs on? That's what I was thinking too. 100 packs.
I think 100 packs is a good number. After that, you sort of get that's enough where you can get a few legendaries, and if you're unlucky, you get the same legendaries. But then you probably get like maybe 6, probably more, probably less, depending how lucky / unlucky you are. But yeah. So I think you get with that, you get enough cards to fill out your set, right? Enough legendaries to not need to craft all of them, and then enough dust to craft what you didn't get.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like 5k or gold isn't that difficult to save either. If you're doing your dailies,
and particularly if you don't play arena. If you're only playing standard, then you can easily earn your 100 passive gold from playing games and then do your quests.
Right. Yeah.
It's not too hard. But you have to be dedicated, I guess, in the sense that just clear all your quests.
Yeah, dedication's a big factor there. Just being able to continually spend a couple minutes every day to do your quests, or maybe not every day, but at least every third day. What else is going on in the world? What's up with what other stuff did we learn this week?
We learned that professional players are entitled twats.
Yeah.
DRC confirmed.
I spend a large amount of my time trolling through Twitter these days, and I came across one tweet from Gamers to RDU, and the tweet exactly. Hang on, okay, I've got the bit.ly. I really love bit.ly because it lets me set custom URLs. So in the show notes, it's bit.ly/RDU rage. It's good times. All right. So for those of you playing at home, the tweet that pissed me off was Dima Radu. It's disappointing to see that since the patron nerf, the meta is going downhill and pros barely have an edge versus random ladder players. I read that and I was just like, you fucking what? It means you're a shit cunt. If you're losing to random players, you're a shit cunt. Fuck. And then I sort of like, it's basically I had as bad of reaction to that tweet as he must have had to write that tweet. And then I sort of started thinking about it.
And we've had that discussion before. It's like, so what you're telling me is you're bad when you can't play an overpowered deck. Got it. I mean, we've had the discussion where it's like, oh, it takes skill and it does take skill. Like, does it take as much skill as like, I don't think it takes as much skill to play that deck as like Freeze Mage. I feel like Freeze Mage is more difficult to play than Patron Warrior is.
Which deck? Patron. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. But basically, what he's saying is in the current meta, there aren't enough decks where you're going to be necessarily better than everybody else playing, which is to some extent is true.
I think I agree with him that like Secretin is not a very skill intensive deck. It's about curving out, and like if you know the general plan, most people can play it. But to play it like at its peak, at its most effective, yes, you have to be a skill player. But you can still not. I mean, as he said, not very big much edge there. But that tweet pisses the crap out of me too. Like that is ridiculous. Here's the thing. Out of me. Oh God, it's terrible. It is so terrible.
But there's a reason why this tweet was removed. Like this is a deleted tweet. This isn't still up. Yeah. So I caught it before it left.
Oh, DRC confirmed.
Yeah, it's that on kind stream. But that kind of cocky statement is absolutely shocking to me because he's literally going into a tournament against the players who have ranked at the top, like the top 128 players. I think it's actually in EU. It was like 135 or so players because there's
151.
There's 151 in that one. Okay,
was the final number?
So the top 151 players in EU and the entire European region come to a tournament, and he says that, oh, it sucks that I'm losing to these random ladder players. It's like, are you kidding me? You're losing to the top 151 players in the whole entire game.
Yeah.
Like this is it has nothing to do when you're playing against the top 150 players. It has nothing to do with them being good ladder players. These players are accomplished players who put themselves and spent the effort and devoted themselves to get themselves to this level. They're on the same level as you. And just because you were successful in the early parts of this game doesn't mean that these players aren't as accomplished. Like some of these players, like for instance, my buddy Manu, he switched over to this game from Magic, and he's been playing on the Magic Pro Tour multiple times. He writes for Magic tournament, or he writes magical articles all the time. And now he's like, okay, I'm going to this Hearthstone prelim because I'm switching over to this because there's better prize support. There's a better program potentially for me. I can do it from my house. Like it's more accessible for him. And so he said, I'm going to do this instead. And obviously he still grinds Magic occasionally, but like his focus is Hearthstone now. And if you want to tell me that he doesn't show up to a tournament and is considered some sort of pleb at a tournament when he's the top 150 in EU, you got to be like, that's bullcrap. Yeah. I can't stand crap like that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I hate to be mean. I'm not normally mean, but that's just crap.
As I said, there's definitely a reason. Like I'm catching something. I caught something that he deleted. Like he actively, someone realized, either he realized or someone from the gamers or G2 press release team or public image control, whatever they have, realized, hey, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I think Tice had a much better one. He was just talking about how like the meta is a little bit stale, and he's keen for Secret and not to be the top deck and things like that. It was a much more PC way of approaching the issue, but I can definitely see where it's coming from. Like, but as you say, it's not the right way to post it. It's just like very. But he's like an 18-year-old kid as well.
So where did this come from? Like, what prompted him? Was he just like shitty one day?
I don't. Angry
he lost to me in Tavern Brawl and was like, damn, these kids. Got him.
It was around the EU preliminaries. I don't know if it was like directly related to that, but it was definitely probably because it was what, the 14th of February my time, so that's like Saturday night for everybody else, or Saturday middle of the day. So it would have been around the time the preliminaries were going on.
Did you follow the prelims this weekend, Tom?
No.
Yeah.
I was out of town.
Oh, well,
I think convenient.
This is exactly why I would assume. It's because the people who placed top 8, actually I think the top 16, what was it? Was it Sixo who was the only one who made it in top 16?
Zixo, that was like in the losers bracket.
Yeah.
That was 16. He got kicked out in the round of 16 in the losers bracket. It was kind of like difficult to navigate the bracket, but from what I could tell, Zixo was the last professional, like established player in, which is pretty good.
The top 8 was comprised entirely of unknown players that were previously unknown and have just kind of like de-seeded all of these known players.
Which is cool. I think that's cool.
They're not unknown. They're just not pros. There was one of the dudes had been banned last year for win trading in 2014.
The name, I think, right?
Yeah. And I think he's tipped to probably win the EU one. There's a few things like that. There's a couple of players who are floating around who have been pretty good, but obviously not pro level. But yeah, as we alluded to, the European preliminaries wrapped up over the weekend, and for those of you playing at home, props to Battlefy for having Blizzard run one of their highest level events on their system. Like, it was run on Battlefy. So you know what that means? Eat a dick, Strivewire, and Challenge. Your systems suck. It's not even a competition anymore. It's just like all the Hearthstone World Championship point tournaments. They cap out at like 128 players on Strivewire, and you ask yourself, is that fucking fair? That 128 people only get to compete for BlizzCon points, whereas like the cap is disgustingly big on.
I think it's 512.
Yeah, Battlefy. It's just like 512. It's just like, I don't think this is fair. And the 128 people, like it's like it's gating how many people can earn points. It's just like fuck you, Strivewire. It's like I would argue that it's not enough. Like they should have their tournament license like revoked because they can't support more than 128 people. Like it's an online. It's sort of like, obviously if they don't have the resources to do it, sure, whatever. It's probably better to run a 128 person tournament. But like how is that? I don't think that's necessarily like as fair that only 128 people get to play it, where the rest of the tournaments they can access, the 129th player can only jump into a 512 one. I think it should be like, they should have a standardized cap is what I'm saying.
I think it's 256 on Strivewire now. That may have been new. I'm not 100% sure as I don't follow it enough, but I think they support up to 256 now.
Okay. Getting better.
Yeah, 256 is now their I just went on their website. Yeah, 256 is their max out now. So I mean they're getting there, but it's
not
still
good enough,
not
boys. Not fucking good enough. When Blizzard doesn't pick you for Hearthstone World Championships, you're doing something wrong.
I don't know, man. I like Strivewire more. I'm gonna have to disagree with you here, Mushu.
I like the reason I've never been able to play a Strivewire tournament. It's just like capped. Obviously, that's my my personal experience of. Like, you can only go to a tournament page so many times and being like, waiting list. It's like, fuck.
All right, here's my top secret. Here's my top secret information for everybody on the podcast.
Ooh.
On Strivewire, if you sign up for a tournament, let's say Tuesday Night Hype, for instance, great tournament series, fantastic, ran by Vicious Syndicate. If you sign up for that and you're on the waiting list, generally there's like 150 people on the waiting list. It's ridiculous. And at the beginning of the check-in period, so let's say it starts at like 4 p.m., which is when it would started for me yesterday. At 3 p.m. is the start of the check-in period. And if you're on the wait list, you can immediately, you want to do this at exactly 3 p.m. You want to immediately check in, because the wait list, the way it works is it's first person on the wait list checked in will be the first one who gets priority if the tournament doesn't fill. And generally, the numbers are closer to about 190 to 200 that fill. So there's like about 50 slots available for waitlist. So if you're diligent and you get in there early, I think you can get into Strivewire tournaments on a regular basis. But I do agree with you, Mushu, 100% that I've gone to Strivewire multiple times and tried to like sign up for a tournament and says this tournament's not yet available to sign up, and then you come back 2 days later and it's full, and you're like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, this is ridiculous. Tell me when it's going to be starting.
Yeah, I think that's sort of what needs to happen. Is you need to be told when they're being released. I guess the reason like it makes me so salty is because as an Australian New Zealand player, we're in the +8 GMT time zone, so we're getting fucked in that we're already up at like 4 a.m. in the morning trying to basically, if I'm not like in a tournament, I'm not going to stay up, sort of thing. Like if I have to fuck around with a wait list, it's like, nah, I don't want to do it, like, because it's 4 a.m. in the morning.
Your time.
So that's sort of like my I guess my polarized reaction is that it just sucks for someone like me.
Well, and not only that, but like, isn't weren't your prelims not based on points in the end?
That's like a Blizzard fuck up. That was interesting. That was kind of strange because like last year we had our own ladder where you could see the points. But this year I don't know what happened, but yeah, they sort of, it was sort of like a last minute thing because we were told on the 1st of February that on the 12th of February they're going to take the top 30 ladder players, which apparently it's really fucking hilarious when people who are rank 5 are getting invites. I mean, what does that say? What does that say about like Australia and New Zealand as a whole? Like there weren't 30 people on the 12th of February who were legend. It's just
Jesus.
it was
That's
really
hilarious.
like fun fact. Decky's, from what I was told, who's the Vicious Syndicate, who's the guy who went far last year in the 2015 thing from Vicious
Did
Syndicate.
he lost in like his round to get in, didn't he?
Yeah,
Or was
he
it like the
he was on-
semifinals or whatever?
he was ranked 2 when the cut was made. So I think it's just speaking to how shit the ladder is at the moment. It's just like speaking back to what RDU was saying, I guess, almost. But no. Yeah. So for those of you playing at home, Battlefy, you can access all the stats from the EU preliminaries, and it's all presented absolutely amazingly. It's really beautiful. But congratulations to Dr. Hippie, Pokrovac, Nick Slay. Nick Slay is one of the more interesting guys because I watched his getting into the top 8 series where he's quite an animated young lad. It was pretty funny. Diggin, Tars, Reza, Bunny Hopper, and Nyman. Congratulations to these boys shitting on the established pros. So yeah, obviously, yeah, no known pros make the top 8 cut. Now, boys and girls, does this mean there's less hype for the EU like finals? If there's no one, do you feel like you're going to watch this?
No, it just makes me more excited about the NA, and when we're gonna just all the unknowns are gonna de-seed all the knowns. There's less known players than there are unknown players in these tournaments. I just can't wait for that to happen.
Yeah, and I don't mean it to say like, oh, thank God there's no known people. Like, I just think it's cool. Like, I'm not trying to poop on anybody who's has a name.
But also, it's sort of, I get people can watch it regardless, but I definitely think it sort of kills the narrative a bit. Like because there is no narrative, it's like these unknown players come out of obscurity.
Well, it just means they have to open the tournament with a narrative, right? Like it has to be like the first 20 minutes or like at the start of each match, you need to introduce these people. You need to make the people know these people, and that sucks for all the known players because it just means there's more competition for known players. And that's good for the tournament series, and it's good for those people who are queued. Like I think it's great. I don't know. Anyway, keep going. Sorry, Mushu. Sorry to interrupt you there.
I feel like you're somewhat biased in this situation.
Oh, I'm totally biased. I'm not going to deny that at all.
Right. So let's see. Basically, okay. So we covered the RDU Rage thing. Covered the ANZ Winter Prelims things, and then the NA Winter Preliminaries. Young Bradley, you are going, as you said before. Right. So we don't expect you to really talk about your lineup.
I have no intentions to. I will not mention a single word.
If you get sniped.
I was also considering telling you guys my lineup, but it'd be completely wrong, just for the sake of like trying to throw everybody off, and then just show up with something completely different. Yeah, I've been thinking
do you know how many people are competing?
I think it would be 140 plus the Tavern Brawl winner, so it'd be like 150 or so, just like in the EU. Now, granted, some people have chosen not to play. Like Brian Kibler said, he's not going to play because he's going to be doing commentary. So the numbers are somewhere between 140 and 150.
What? Really? He's not playing? Man,
yeah, he chose not to.
That's kind of cool, though. I like him doing commentary.
Yeah, that means he's banking on his casting career rather than his professional career, which is in theory is a much safer move. Definitely,
yeah, it's a totally safer move.
It's So I guess with that, if he's giving up that, he must have a pretty good idea of how often he's going to be brought up onto the desk, which must be pretty often because they were rotating between, I guess, the star lineup of cast of Kibler, Savich, and the bold dude. And
Admirable.
And no. Yeah, the Blizzard one. The Blizzard.
Oh,
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I can't either.
Yeah, that bold guy from Blizzard. Sorry, bold guy from Blizzard. I love your commentary, but I cannot
The
remember your
BGB.
name.
Oh man.
And
Volker Blizzard.
then the
Got
B
it.
then the B lineup of I don't even know who those the dude with the long hair, the Scot the British man, and D2. D2 was the other guy. That's right. D2 was on the desk. D chunky too. He's put some weight on, but I think that's a pretty like common thing for streamers to put on weight is because you're sitting down all the time. So Bradford, you're next. You're going to be a fat man.
Also, I got the rocking
Anyway.
chair.
Yeah, so
Yes,
you were,
keep-
yeah, you don't eat
Constant
Doritos.
workout.
You don't eat Doritos, Mountain Dew, and Tostitos, do you?
Do not eat Mountain Dew.
Oh,
This is true.
Good. Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Good. Just checking. That was a
suck.
trick
I love
question. There you
eating
go.
Mountain Dew. Anyway, as you can see on Battlefy, for those of you playing at home, the links are in the show notes for clicking on the thing, or just literally just Google EU preliminaries on Battlefy and all the data's there. It's ridiculous. When I was watching this, how similar everyone's lineup was to my lineup. So everyone, the most common lineup was Druid, Warlock, Paladin, and then there was like a flex slot which greatly, I guess, varied between things like Warrior and Mage were the next two common, and then you had like every other class after that. But most people were playing the core of Warlock, Druid, Paladin, and so everyone was pretty much playing mid-range Druid. Some kind of I play Zoo Warlock. I'm pretty sure that's the most common.
Yeah.
And Secret Paladins, and then obviously that can sort of flex into Warlock can be Zoo Reno or combo, which is a Reno combo kind of thing. Mage could be freeze or tempo. The Paladin can be control Paladin, like the mid range sort of thing with zombie chows or qualities and shit. It can be the Secret Paladin that we all know and love, or it can be the anything combo deck. And then with Druid, there can be slight variations between it being ramp versus combo, basically toggling the amount of combo pieces and Ancients of War and such, but it's more or less the same. So, as from what we saw in the stats, though, Warlock was picked 132 in the 132 of 151 lineup, so that's 87.4% of players had Warlock in their lineup. 74.8% of players had Druid. And 69.5% had Paladin. So as you can see, those classes are. I couldn't access the rest of the list, but those are the top most played by far, which is kind of. I think that basically speaks to the strongest decks in Hearthstone.
Yeah.
The strongest classes is.
Yeah.
And then we move on to bans. So obviously they're playing Conquest with a ban. So the first deck that everybody banned consistently was Warrior, which was banned 94 out of 90 times. So I'm not 100%
You just
sure
don't
how
want
that
to deal
works.
with it.
Yeah, because it shits on because Warrior kind of shits on Secret Paladin a little bit. It shits on Freeze Mage.
Yeah, it should.
That's the other thing. Is it's a really shits on Freeze. Like at the moment, I've been climbing with Freeze Mage, and it's really good, except against Warrior. That's the only matchup where if they play Justica, I'm going to concede.
Oh yeah.
It's just like not worth my fucking time. It's just like hashtag never concede, Bradley.
For those of you playing at home who haven't been following us since early, Just Soup loves Control Warrior. If you can't tell,
I love it. It's great.
That's we've
That's
joked and
sarcasm.
talked about that. Yeah. Major
What?
kappa.
Well, here's the thing. I don't hate it as much as I used to. I'm okay with it now. It's like if I see a control warrior, I'm not gonna be like this is the end of the world. I'm just gonna be like this is another guy. That's and for the moment it was Secret Paladin for me. But I've gotten to the point where I see it every game, so that like if I just tilt every time I see that, I'm just gonna be wasting my time. But yeah,
it's.
hate it.
You still, dude. Freeze Mage is the best way to go against Secret Paladin. It's just like so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have enough cards. I don't have enough cards, and the games take so damn long.
But so the thing about like that is the games take long. They definitely take longer, but your win percentage goes up so much. It's like it's 100% worth it if you just have to sit out and grind it. It's like when I did my my RSA, which for those of you who are international responsible service of alcohol like test thing, it was 100 questions or something like that. of really just easy shit where I have the answers. They give you the answers in like note form. Like you have this 20-page book to read from and look up the answers and shit. It just takes a really long fucking time, but you get there. You 100% get there. And it's the same thing with Freeze Mage, is if you just stick it out, you'll get to Legend just because it's so good against the meta.
Yeah.
Like the clutch matchups are Druid and things like, even Priest is like, it's not, I think you're still favored against a Priest, but it's not like huge.
I think you got to catch him off guard, yeah.
Or not even catch them off guard.
I think Priest is one of your better matchups from what I've seen, just because like you can outlast them for the most part, and you don't. And the thing is that you don't have to outlast them. You can just fucking straight up kill them because you run Alex Raza and they don't.
Well, that's the thing. True. Yeah, it gets a little wonky if they run Justicar and some other healing.
Yeah,
because what the thing that you get locked into is your Alex turn has to be perfect, and they can't like come back from it. Because sometimes if they run Flash Heal and basically they can get into the Justicar thing. If they heal 6, if they go heal Justicar heal and they heal 6, you're pretty fucked. Like that's where you lose.
Yeah. Or if you go Alex and they're like Flash Heal here for 4. It's like, oh, you gained 14. Great, you're at 29 now. Like
exactly. It's like it's pretty bad, and that's where you lose. But granted, you don't have the same sort of problem like you do with Warrior, where they can go above 30, and that's what gives you the majority of time. Is you can. Right. That's the thing with Priest, as you said, you can outlast them. You just wait for the ideal scenario and just light them the fuck up. But we shall move on to the win rates of the preliminaries. So, what do we think had the highest win rate? Just without looking at the stats, boys. Which class had the highest
Secret
win rate?
Pally.
Yeah,
Secret Pally Zulok.
I'm gonna say Pally Druid would be my top 2 guesses, without looking.
So mine would have been Paladin without looking, but I already looked. So
you're definitely kind of right. Paladin had an equal win rate with Mage over about like 60 more games. So Paladin had a 54% win rate over 320 games, and Mage had a 54% win rate over 257 games. So there was a lot of Mage.
Wow.
Mage.
Like we expected a shit ton of Secret Paladin or Paladin anyway, but there's a lot of Mage. And then Hunter, it's really like strange because after Hunter and Warlock both had a 50% win rate, and then every other class had a sub 50% win rate, which I suppose makes sense. Well, it doesn't necessarily not make sense in the sense that sometimes some decks are going to play more games than others because of their win rate. Like if Secret Paladin is really good, it's going to win more times. Thus, it's going to have to play less games. Whereas something like a Druid, which can go either way, is going to have to play more games because in order to get it locked out of your Conquest lineup, you have to win with it. Sometimes you might have to play 2 games with it. So that sort of thing. So yeah. So
I think the reason we also see Hunter at 50% is because of its positioning and based on what other people were playing. It's got a decent Freeze Mage lineup or matchup. It has a solid, if you say you're playing Face Hunter, for instance, it has a solid Secret in matchup. And with a lot of people being on Zoo this weekend or that last weekend because of, like as we said, 132 people played Warlock. And most of those people were on Zoo, not all of them. But Face Hunter and more aggressive Hunter lists have a very solid Zoo matchup as well, which I think that saying Hunter had a 50% win rate is more attuned to what we're seeing in the tournament rather than what we should be expecting on ladder. So if people are like, wow, 50% with Hunter, I should play that on ladder right now. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have as good of a matchup on ladder. You should be playing more of a deck that's good against the field as a whole. But in this tournament, some people were playing Hunter because they were trying to game against what they expected other people to be playing.
With that, basically playing a lot of Hunter means you're expecting a lot of Warlock.
Yeah.
So Hunter beat Warlock in 10 of 11 games. So 91% of the games, which is pretty huge. And you can look at it like this. Look, the Paladin had less than a 50% win rate against Mage. So ideally, I would like to think like on average, I would think that's usually Secret Paladin versus Freeze Mage. Obviously, you have Tempo Mage versus like anything and shit like that. But yeah, it's good times. I think looking at what did Warrior lose most to? Wow, Warrior lost mostly to Hunter.
Well, granted, that was only 6 games though.
Yeah.
They also got wrecked by
Warlock. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I wonder if that's an interesting thing. I wonder if there's Zoo or like a combo Reno kind of thing. We need further annotations to.
I think the vast majority of people were on Zoo. There were definitely people playing Reno, but a lot of those people got deseeded in the early parts of the tournament. A lot of the later parts of the tournament was a very aggro heavy lineup. As I've looked at the tournament a little bit, I've studied a little bit, obviously.
Reno's pretty greedy, isn't it? Like if you
Yeah,
don't
it
curve
can
out,
be.
it's like really greedy. If you don't like get your curve, and it's pretty fucking greedy, and you just get punished by Hunter, by Zoo Warlock. I think Zoo's one of the best things. Like if you don't draw Reno, you're screwed against Zoo. That's the idea. If they draw averagely, you're going to get screwed if you don't draw Reno. If they draw above average, then you're probably going to be pretty dead by turn 6, depending if they can create the death rattle pressure with the Nerubian Egg and Haunted Creeper to like nullify Demon Wrath and Hellfire and that sort of thing. And it's the same thing with combo. Like you are definitely against the clock, and it's usually not that good. I think Shaman, though, in the 4 games against Rogue, 100% win rate. So, fun fact, if Miracle Rogue comes back, everyone break out your Shamans.
I played against one today. It was the first Rogue I played against as an aggro shaman and just like destroyed it. Because all it did was like it like backstabbed one of my I think it backstabbed and shivved my Argent Horse Rider guy, my 3-drop 2/1 Divine Shield charge. I remember the stats, not the names. Backstab shift that, got rid of that. I was like, damn, he must really want to not have my stuff on board. And then like he played Deadly Poison and Gadgets and Auctioneer. And that was it. And I won. Because I played cards.
The problem with Rogue is a lot of the ways that they want to answer your threats either do 2 damage, like backstab, SI7 agent. And a lot of your threats have 3 or more butts in that particular shaman deck, because they have, and obviously Argent Horse Rider is only a 2/1 butt, but it only has a 1 butt, but it has Divine Shield, but it has Divine Shield. But yeah, so I think that matchup's actually relatively bad. On top of that, their way to do 3 damage is Deadly Poison, so they're taking damage to their face in order to answer your threat. So they're using their life as a resource, and then you're just like, oh cool, burn you, you're dead, cool.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate matchup for them, and on top of that, I don't care because I won. So that works.
Yeah, Shaman had the worst win rate out of everything at the tournament, which was interesting to me. I kind of expected that to some extent, because I think Shaman for the most part has a slightly below 50% win rate against most decks, but because it doesn't have like a terrible matchup because it's such an aggro all-in kind of deck. It can always win a game. Like it always has the chance to win any game. So I don't know. Interesting. I definitely considered Shaman for this weekend. I don't know if I'll play it though. We'll see. It depends on the lineup.
Confirmed Bradford not playing Shaman.
I might actually. It depends on the lineup. There's a lineup that I want Shaman because I have a lineup that shits on Freeze Mage, and Shaman is the flex spot. It's like the 4th deck there.
I don't think you need to like shit on Freeze Mage. I think you need to be able to. All your decks probably need to be able to. I don't think like giving up Secret Paladin is a bad thing. Like I think as long as you are in with a 50-50 chance against Secret Paladin, you can be fine. I don't think you need to be able to line up around beating Secret Paladin. Which
sure.
it might be it could be a valid strat if you could get 4 decks that can like have a massive win advantage against a Secret Paladin. I think you do pretty well.
Sure.
I think any deck that can like punish Druid, because obviously like but just based on these stats, I think Freeze Mage is borderline like an auto include, which means Warrior is borderline and auto like counter include. Because if you the best thing to pick into a Warrior, like Warrior just seems like such a solid choice in that. Like obviously, what did it smash? I got wrecked by Paladin actually, which is interesting. It got wrecked by Paladin and Druid, Paladin and Warlock. So it must be. So Warrior's there to counter Druid and mage.
Yeah, but you have to
which is
keep
just
in
pretty
mind,
good.
like most people were playing Patron Warrior specifically. If someone was on Control Warrior, I think those numbers become a little bit different. Like the numbers say that out of 6 games against Hunter, it won 2. So it won 33% of its Hunter matchups, which would then that statistic alone probably tells you, okay, everyone's playing Patron.
Most of those 6 games were patron games. Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah. And that makes sense because Patron is a really solid pick in tournaments because it still has good game against Freeze Mage. It has a better Druid lineup matchup. And so a lot of there's certain strategies to go into tournaments that I think a lot of people took for this weekend. And one of those strategies was, okay, we're going to have a good Druid lineup so we don't have to ban Druid because we expect a lot of people to play Druid, which we saw was the number 2 most picked class. 113 of those players were playing Druid. So one of the strategies some people were trying was, like we could go with the don't ban Druid ever, either ban Warlock or ban Paladin, and then have a lineup that's very good against Druid. Like for instance, like Tempo Mage, Secret End's decent, and Zulok, and then play Patron Warrior. And they just have, like besides the Secret End being about a 50-50 in the matchup, they have 3 decks that are very well positioned against Druid for the most part. And as we look at the numbers, it says, 64% win percentage for Warrior against Druid, a 49% for Warlock against Druid, and a 59% for Mage against Druid, which would suggest that those particular matchups were happening. And that exact strategy that we just talked about was happening in the tournament specifically. So I don't know. That's a line that exact thing I just discussed is the thought process I think a lot of people going into this weekend as well as the last weekend were thinking about as they were picking their lineups. And I think that we're going to see a lot of that exact same lineup running up the next weekend. We're going to see a lot of Mage, Paladin, Warlock, Druid. The flex spot, just like Mushu was saying, is either Mage or, like maybe they're playing Druid as well, or something along that. There's like one flex spot in that lineup generally.
Mage is so fucking ridiculous because I think it just shits on Paladin, like all forms of Paladin. And it's pretty good against Druid. That's the other thing. It's just like it's so good against the high pick decks. Because like Druid, you can definitely lose to Freeze Mage as you can definitely smash a Freeze Mage as a Druid just because there's so much like snowball potential. But if in a regular game, if you don't snowball, then you're gonna get fucked just because they have so much control and they have so much like damage tolerance. The times you do win is when you get that cheeky like turn 7 or 8, or sometimes if the Freeze Mage has a shit draw turn 9 combo. But yeah, and that's how you lose. As a Freeze Mage to a Druid. But yeah, for the most part, it just shits on. And that obviously, we get back full circle as to why Warrior's good. Warrior's good because Freeze Mage is good.
Yeah.
But everything else is crap, Bradley. Don't consider any of the other 4 classes.
Just play Freeze Mage and play Patron Warrior. Done. Well, don't even submit any other decks.
No. As in, I mean, play Mage, Paladin, Warlock, Druid, Warrior. Like some combination of those.
You're saying those 5 classes are the ones to consider. You're saying like don't play Hunter, don't play Priest, don't play Rogue. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Everything else is just sort of like niche. Like Shaman, obviously crap. Rogue seems like it's a bit of a liability. Just because it's not good enough against the main classes. Like it's good against. Look, it was good against Hunter. It was pretty good against Warlock, but I don't think it was necessarily. It's not good enough against like Paladin, and Paladin you're going to see just absolute shit ton of. Yeah, and especially Warlock, we'll see a lot. I think the reason people picked Rogue was because they were like, I'm expecting a ton of Zoo, and that makes sense because Zoo is designed in a way, or it's a very strong deck. It's a good aggro control deck. It can play this sort of aggro game plan, or it can be the control deck to try and control the board state as much as possible, which allows it to kind of like turn on a dime, which is very strong. And I think that's why people wanted to pick Rogue because it has that slight advantage against them because it can almost do that better than they can. It plays from behind, but it plays in a way that it can try to control the board by answering threats or using a Blade Flurry to clear. It has ways to interact very effectively against the Zoo deck. And then it also has this combo finish. So even though the Zoo player may be ahead most of the game, they're able to be like, oh, okay, now we can kill you. Here's 15, 20, however much damage to finish the game. And especially because the Zoo deck is tapping the whole time. Maybe not the whole time, but they're tapping a couple times at least. that puts the rogue even closer in range to set off its like Tinker Sharp Sword Oil, South Sea Deckhand, whatever other tomfoolery they've got in their hand.
Skullduggery.
All right. So those of you playing at home, the qualifier, the decks are up from the prelims. So Bunny Hopper was playing Zoo, Aggro Pally, Mid Range, and Patron. So Aggro Pally, I remember watching that, and everyone was like, even the cast was like, "Oh, is this Secret Paladin?" And it's like 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, I watched that.
No, where the hell are the secrets? No, it was just an Aggro Paladin. Diggin was playing Zoo, Aggro Paladin, Mid Range Druid, and Patron Warrior. Nyman was playing Tempo Mage, Secret Paladin, Aggro Zoo, Aggro Shaman. So that's pretty interesting. He went quite deep without Druid.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't need no crutch. Nick Slay, Midrange Druid, Monkey Patron Warrior, which is basically just patrons with monkeys, the fierce monkeys. Ragnaros, Secret Paladin, and Aggro Zoo. Pokrovac was Patron Warrior, Aggro Zoo, Secret Egg Paladin, and Oil Rogue. Tars was Secret Paladin, Temper Mage, Curse of Refarm, Aggro Zoo. It's interesting. And Midrange Druid. Then Jambre. Who the hell is Jambre? Anyway, basically you can see the
trend is aggro.
It's basically which anytime aggro is good, freeze mage is good. And every time freeze mage is good, any sort of warrior is good. It's just like it writes itself.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was the difference in, I think people bring 2 aggro decks with the aggro paladin. Aggro paladin just shits on Secret Paladin and it also has the disguise of being might be Secret Paladin, particularly if you sneak a couple of cheeky secrets in there, because it will generally sometimes have Avenge in it. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let's take a look at some of these lists.
Where do you have these lists? Can you share those with me real quick?
No, fuck you guys. You should have done your research.
Oh, okay, never mind then. Fine, keep going. As you were, man. As you were.
I'm a sharing kind of guy who wants to do the best in life.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
So no man. Yeah.
I only care for my own selfish reasons. I want to see what other people
I know you,
play.
mate.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good time to be an aggro player. Fuck control. There's just no good control decks at the moment.
Come at me.
Come on, man.
Oh no. There's freeze
all
mage.
right.
It's freeze mage.
Freeze mage is good. And then priest is fine.
But if you're playing freeze mage, your lineup has to be ban warrior. Like you're set on that plan. You're like, okay, no warrior.
Fun fact: no one who played priest made top 8. Tom?
Hey, stop.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You're killing the dream.
Okay, so not all the deck lists
I
are here.
like
So
priest. It's fun.
Oh yeah.
Even though no, it doesn't shit on me. It shit on my hunter sometimes.
I guess I know my lineup for tournaments now. I'm no longer swap out the aggro Secret Pally, swap in an aggro Pally. It's going to be good times. The Secret Paladin's like a bit of a flip sometimes.
Yeah, again,
sometimes you just lose.
It's just freeze mage again. You just can't win sometimes when and the problem is that lineup sometimes, like if you're on like a mid-range paladin, aggro zoo, secret in, we'll say like patron, like typical the classes that you're going to see the most, the exact lineup you're going to see the most, that matchup, they're not always able to ban freeze mage. And when they do ban freeze mage, sometimes that lineup's going to have control warrior in them as well, which can be bad for them, because a lot of times that means the other person's banning the druid right off the bat, and then they've just got this hate on aggro lineup to deal with. I know it's been I'd say the tournament series is pretty much defined. There's like 4 major lineups that people are running for the most part, and then occasionally a spicy card here or there, a spicy deck here or there, like
a spicy card.
Spicy.
So spicy.
So spicy. I got a spicy card for this weekend that I'm not going to share, but we'll talk about that next week. But like for instance, one of the really spicy decks that came out of this, and they actually posted this. I'm really interested by that. Jamboree was playing it. It's like Egg Secret Paladin. I mean, it's a deck list that's been floating around for a little while, but it's really interesting. I like this particular deck in the tournament because it beats the Secret in matchup a little bit more effectively than the Secret in, because they like like the Secret Index sometimes will run like a 5-drop, like a Lotheb, a Defender of Argus, something like that. And I don't mind running a 5-drop, but I've always been like trying not to whenever I play Secret In, because I want to give myself a little bit of an edge against the Secret In matchup. And on top of that, at turn 5, a lot of times you can play like Muster for Battle plus something else, or like Coghammer plus something else, and you've got ways to just put out these two cards in one turn kind of plays, or like a 4-drop plus a secret on turn 5 and then go into Mysterious Challenger. And so like I've been much more desiring to not have 5-drops, and that's what you see out of this the egg Secret In lists, where they're trying to go for a little bit more aggressive approach and basically outboard state the Secret In player. So if you get one of those games where they get their secret palette or their Mysterious Challenger down before you get yours down, you can still be ahead enough in the game to battle back, because even though the Repentance is going to hit your Mysterious Challenger before your Repentance hits their Mysterious Challenger, which is a big deal, because instead of having a 6/6, you have a 6/1. The fact that you're already ahead on the board, it gives you enough edge to keep battling through them.
I think the question that everyone has in their mind is, did Mike send you a DRC shirt to wear on stream for the prelims?
I have not received it yet, sadly.
What the
sadly
fuck?
Not received it yet.
It's coming.
Don't worry. When I win, that's the first thing I'm going to be like, well, the question they're going to ask me, they're going to be like,
is there time to post him one?
Maybe.
Yeah.
If you posted it to where he was going,
I'm actually not allowed to wear branded clothing for the tournament.
It's not.
I don't know if
though.
it's considered. Yeah, I guess so. I guess if it's not, like
it's like a Hearthstone shirt. It's like got a death rattle icon on it.
It is.
I think it should be fine. Oh yeah, it does have a death rattle. It's true. Yeah, it could be fine because it is a Hearthstone t-shirt.
Seriously, if you can get it to him, do it, and then like. Because we'll be watching. I know I'll be watching the stream, whatever ungodly time I have to get up.
Right.
I'm only staying up for your match, and then after.
When is
we're not even sure that I'll be on. There's 150 people. What's the odds that a pleb like myself?
They're gonna go
like Brian Kibler or something. Like
he's not playing. He's casting, buddy.
So, true.
So
already not one.
You're number 2. Yeah.
Yeah, we're game on.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
So when it wait.
What you have to do. What you have to do is get paired against Firebat, and you'll be laughing.
Yeah.
Well, I might be paired against a major player in the first round too. I'm not 100% sure. I'll know tomorrow for sure.
When are you leaving?
Friday morning. So like in 48 hours.
Got it.
Overnight that shit.
For real.
Overnight that shit.
You have to send me an address. I had plans.
Cut next month's gift card.
Right. I had plans for the hosts, but we we'll talk, Brad. We'll talk.
All right.
Brad, just get like a Sharpie
Duct
or
tape?
something, and then just draw the logo on your face, and then that'll be
on my face. I'm just gonna tattoo like one of those like terrible side tattoos that go towards my face or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, a neck tattoo that goes upward.
Yeah. On DRC confirmed on your forehead.
Get like a little tiny kappa, just right here.
Yeah.
I got a friend who's a tattoo artist. I think I can get that done in no time.
Perfect.
That'd be amazing. Get a henna tattoo or something and just have all your brands all over your face.
My brand.
My brand.
Always sit at like a slight angle so they can see it even better on like one side of your face.
I want you to play your games like this the whole time.
Seated sideways, only one side of my face. This is my good side.
And I want the reaction like
just constant Pog champ reaction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, that was news.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Is that it for news? Anything else, Matt?
Yeah.
No, that's it.
We handball it to the emails, the people who took the time to construct words into sentences, into letters, into emailing, into DRC.
So that's it for In Case You Missed It. If you have any news you'd like for us to discuss, send an email to mail@deathrattlecrew.com. But we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with Meta-Anatomy. And welcome back. This is Meta-Anatomy, your one weekly stop for everything meta in Hearthstone. I am Tak2, joined by Mushu, Just Soup, and Bradford Lee. We're going to start this off with a couple emails. None of them are from females.
Did you do that to make a rhyme?
Thank you.
I
Thank
did.
you for clarifying that.
Okay.
It was more the rhyme. I'm trying to show my my skills. I got skills, guys. First one from Vandio. He writes in a lot.
I like Vandio.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Good people.
Good guy. Good
He
guy.
said, hey there, DRC. I play between 20 to 30 games a week and have reached rank 5 each season since the and I guess anniversary meant of chess rewards. I think misspelling there, or maybe that meant to be together.
Since there was chess rewards,
Yeah,
he's made
basically.
rank 5.
Yeah, I think that was the point.
Got him.
Do you think it will be easier to reach legend on the wild ladder for a player like myself? Thanks for all the great content, Vendio.
Probably.
So what do we think? Is it easier to reach legend on wild versus standard? What's the consensus?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Just because by function of that, I'd say I'm not going to bother with wild. Brad's probably not going to bother with wild.
Oh, I'm totally playing wild.
I'm totally playing wild too.
Brad's
I'll be
not going
there.
to play
I'll be
wild.
there. I'll be there with Brad.
I don't think I'll be there. I think I'll be standard.
I'll start with standard because I want to brew decks, but I'll totally play wild.
See, this is why Brad and I were meant for each other. Because I'm gonna do the same exact thing.
Man,
I actually think that the ladder is going to be easier for wild for the most part for players who already have an established wild collection. Because the number of cards that are going to make an impact on wild are going to be very minimal as compared to the number that will make an impact on standard. So the standard format will be, if you will, a Wild West format for the first month or so, where people are testing decks, trying weird things. So I think the people that are going to be able to capitalize in the first month or two of standard are going to be the people that are good deck designers, are either got on the best deck early, or are able to recognize the best deck early. Those people are going to be rewarded in the standard format at first. But the people who in wild that are going to be rewarded are the people that still play combo druid, that still play secret in, or whatever the best deck is at the time. They're going to be the ones that get rewarded in wild. So if you feel comfortable, if you're a player who's playing like 7 hours a day, trying to unlock the secrets of standard moving forward, yeah, you might be the person that might be able to get an advantage getting to legend and standard. But if you're the player who, you have 2, maybe 3 hours a day at the maximum to play, you're going to have an advantage in wild because you don't have to spend that time developing the perfect deck for you. You've already got that established. You've already invested that time. And so all you have to do then is become more and more and more and more proficient with that particular deck. Maybe add one card to it because a new card got printed or something.
Okay.
So I think we're all in agreement, right?
yeah, I don't think there's any question that because it's going to be the most, as you said, most of the same, and everyone's going to be playing standard because, yeah. Do you reckon they haven't clarified what to go with World Championship points is with that? Is there? I assume it's only going to be from standard, right?
They haven't said, or I haven't read anything. I know officially standard is the format for the tournaments and stuff.
But getting
points,
points, I would only think you can only give points.
That would be my guess as well.
They might cap you out on points.
For like wild or something.
Nah, dude.
So you could get points in wild and in standard, but like because you only obviously there's almost no way you're going to get rank 1 in standard and in wild, but if you do, there's going to be like some drawback, like you can only get so many points based on your rank. I don't know. It would probably be too complicated.
No, it seems counterintuitive to incentivize both ladders to the same extent.
Right.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I think I'll just go for legend in both.
Too, but
Yeah, but what I mean is like points, Bradley.
Yeah, because
like,
if you're getting points in wild, but you get to a tournament where it's standard only, yeah, I could see where that would.
I think it's standard
up.
only. Then
it's only going to be standard. Like, yeah,
I haven't.
Wild's not going to be as competitive. I don't think. I think it would be a mistake to incentivize both.
I haven't seen the black and white of that written out, but that's what I'm guessing.
It doesn't make sense for Blizzard to incentivize wild because they're only selling money. They're money wise. If we talk about the dollar bills, they're only selling standard things moving forward. Like there's GVG is basically going away. They're not going to be making a profit off that. So they should be promoting the thing that they're trying to make a profit off from as well. It's not a good business measures to focus their efforts on Wild as much. Now, granted, they're going to have to put some attention to it, and they will. They totally will, because that's a player base. They want to, again, that's a retention rate issue for them. But yeah, it's a standard world we're going to be living in.
Okay, is that it? We're done.
Yeah.
Question and answer. All right, next one. This is from Jake. Hey guys, with the new standard format coming soon, how do you guys think Blizzard will handle Druid? Since so many of the cards in competitive decks are from the basic set, does Blizzard even need to address this? Keep it up, Jake Pierce.
It's gonna be so fucking ruffle stomp if none of the Druid cards get changed
Right.
in standard. It's the exact same thing. But no, I think they'll either. I don't think they'll change. So obviously, the hot topic at the moment is the combo and innovate. Those are the two big things that people have asked to be addressed and might be. So I think if they focus on the combo, then they're going to change Savage Roar and probably make it 4 mana. That's the easiest switch I can see, is making Savage Roar 4 mana. And then on the innovate side of things, the Lothar approach of making it a 2-option thing where you choose one, gain 1 mana crystal like Wild Growth, or refill an empty mana crystal. So you get plus 1 mana to something you've already used, or you get a Wild Growth basically.
Wait, 0 mana Wild Growth?
Yeah, is what he was suggesting.
So broken.
That would be pretty broken.
No.
Yes, it is.
Let it happen.
Yeah,
It's
right.
crazy.
It's like a super coin.
I think. Oh man,
That
That's
might have
so
been what he
good.
said.
If they maybe made it like 2 mana like Wild Growth and just got rid of Wild Growth, then or even kept like Wild Growth plus Innervate, and now Innervate's 2 mana and does the same thing plus of Wild Growth and something else.
Oh,
maybe.
Yeah.
But even that's still very good. Like that's modal cards are so freaking good. That's why.
Oh no.
Druids-
Okay, gain 1 mana crystal this turn
Okay.
only, or refill 2 mana crystals. So yeah, no, that makes more sense. I was going to say when I was saying like the Wild Growth thing, I was like, that
Oh.
seems a little dumb.
Oh,
But
so
yeah,
you're
so-
saying. So like, let's say you have 4 mana, right? And you
you
use 4 of the
2
mana.
and-
You get
yeah.
2 back, or you can add
Yeah.
1 for the turn to go up to 5. Is what you're saying?
yeah,
So you either
Ah.
get 4 plus 2, or you get 5 total.
I don't know.
So-
yeah.
Is that
So
playable
you-
now?
So
Okay.
you can go piloted Shredder, innovate hero power, or you can go innovate into Druid of the Claw.
Okay.
So is this going to be a separate card, like from Wild Growth and Innervate?
No, this is
So this is the new
Lothar.
tool.
No, this is Lothar's
Yeah.
suggestion. This is a fan made suggestion
Mhm.
of what innovate should be.
Innervate.
I think
itself.
that's. I think that's better than the current Innervate. I think the current Innervate is too powerful. I think I've been saying it since day one, since I started playing this game. I was like, Innervate's the most powerful card in the game, and I still strongly agree with that. It's the most powerful card in the game. It does the most broken things, in my opinion. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a better way of doing it. I still just don't think Innervate should be in the game. If you want my honest opinion on it, just get rid of the card. It's the real problem, in my opinion.
Yeah, so he also suggested Savage Roar going to 4.
Make it a 10 only. Yeah. Combo.
Yeah,
10 only.
I think 10 only combo is fine. Like even it's still fine. I think it's still fine as it is. Like I think the thing that people forget about Bloodlust is it's 3 damage, and it would be broken. Bloodlust, it would be broken as shit if it affected the face, because what it would synergize it with is Doomhammer.
Oh,
So
it's
you get
nasty.
Yeah, so I think that's the number one reason why Bloodlust doesn't affect your face, is because it'd be too OP within the Shaman context of just totems and just ABC. You're gonna get fucked.
That's how you spell that. Okay.
Yeah, so Shredder.
I think they have to
Okay.
retool it though, like Druid in some way, shape, or form. It'll still be the ramp class. Like it'll still have Wild Growth and be ramping. You know, like that. We know that's gonna still be their major thought process. They're still gonna be the Timmy deck. They're gonna be the deck that well, never mind. That term's a magic term. It basically means like the Timmy is the person that likes to like get to big things, play scenarios because it's awesome and it's huge, and they like to play huge big bombs because they're fun to play. And that class will still exist like that because it meets a need of players. Like there's a certain number of players that like to play big fat things, so it meets the psyche of those particular types of players. So I think that stays around. The things that are going to change are, in my opinion, either going to be Savage Roar or Force of Nature in some way, shape, or form, or Innervate or Wild Growth. It has to be either the things that allow them to ramp and do things at faster pace than other decks, or the combo that allows them to kind of go off and apply some really strange pressure at the beginning of the game and put your opponent in a bad situation where they're like, oh, I'm at 14. Well, if they have combo, I'm dead. It's just like, it feels bad sometimes to play against them.
It feels bad against any sort of deck when there's impending doom from a larger amount of health.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons combo is kind of slowly falling by the wayside in this game. Do you think Faceless Manipulator Leroy, or well, maybe not Leroy, is Leroy a classic card? I don't honestly know.
Yeah.
It is. Okay. So Faceless
So
Leroy
Faceless.
is that combo. Do you think that combo gets retooled? Or do you think like Faceless
No.
Manipulator
Dude,
goes up to 6 or something?
If that gets if they take all the combos out, I think I'm done with this game.
I don't know. I mean, is it really a problem? I mean, not with Leroy.
I don't
It's not.
think it is.
But we were talking about before we recorded. Like I got T-boned by a Reno lock that was running Arcane Golem, Power Overwhelming, and then he Faceless Manipulated it. So it's 20 damage, right? Did I do that right? Yeah.
Well, no, sorry. But that's
I think it's
16
10.
with Arcane. With Leroy, it is 20. Leroy Power Overwhelming. Faceless is 20.
He had a 10-4 Arcane Golem. How did he do it?
He must use an Abusive Sergeant as well.
Well, it was a Warlock.
So he probably used.
Oh yeah, you're right. No,
Arcane
I'm sorry.
Golem, Power Overwhelming, Faceless Manipulator, and I'm sorry, Arcane Golem, Power Overwhelming, Abusive Sergeant, and then played Faceless
That's
Manipulator.
it. Yep, that was the combo. So and like I don't. It's was it 4 cards? I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Like I don't. It's 4 cards.
Sure.
No,
like
that's totally fine.
sure. If you could do 30 damage at that, you know what? It's 4 cards. I don't know. I think
that's a combo I can get behind. It's those 2 card combos that are really
yes, agreed. Right.
that are potentially an issue.
Right.
It's not necessarily that it's an issue. It's a design issue for deck destruction.
Mhm.
Because if you can't beat a 2 card combo, it puts you in a position where it's hard to design other decks into the format. Or, in the case of Druid, it's like, why would you play any other Druid deck? You could play aggro Druid and it's fine. But like if you're playing Druid, you're probably playing combo Druid. You're playing Force of Nature, Savage Roar. And even the aggro Druid decks are playing Force of Nature, Savage Roar.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I've been kind of excited to see more Faceless Manipulators because we haven't really seen that card played since even before Nax.
Well, it's mostly because the card that you wanted to Faceless became less and less. That basically back in vanilla, Faceless manipulating like a Rag or Ysera was pretty good because you're getting a 5-mana Rag or Ysera. But because those cards sort of fell off and we got, I guess, better things to put in that slot, it just fell off. And now it's sort of like that niche pick. It used to be a pretty standard card that you just run because there were so many things you could just snipe, clone, and then sometimes you ran 2 and so you could clone the clone and just be like, GG, I got 2 rags at 10 mana.
And it feels so good to Faceless Manipulate a Rag and then BGH the Rag.
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
That was the combo.
It was so fucking dirty.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
God, that sounds so good.
by.
Faceless Manipulator. All right, kill your Rag. God, that's so good. No, I have an 8/8 and a 4/2. You're go. Good luck.
Yeah, you lose, buddy. Time to pack her up. Basically,
Yeah, it's like, you have something else on the board? Cool, the Rag killed it. You're to go.
Yeah.
I would say
Sounds pretty good.
I assume once all these winter prelim things are over, that's when we'll get the new shit.
Yeah, so
I was
the
wondering
guess
about
here
that.
for me is March 8th. Based on some speculation, the guess is March 8th that will either be release date or will be the date that we know something about the set, and then the next week would be the release date. So my guess is we're in the 3-week cycle right now. We're about 3 weeks away from actually seeing the new set, whether that's release or just getting the information about what's in it.
Yeah, I was reading something, was in Kotaku or some website where they were talking about how press information had gone out to the press from Blizzard about a special event date. I believe it was in March.
Yeah. That would make sense.
And if they're going with we're going to announce it and then like release it almost immediately, I guess that would make sense. And I like that better. Don't show something then wait 3 years to release it.
Well, it's interesting because as of recent, I would have disagreed with you, but the last two Magic releases have gone terribly for Wizards of the Coast. They've been trying to like. What they do is their strategy is like a month before release, they start spoiling cards slowly. But that's been bad because there's been like leaks. There's been people who have gotten the information beforehand. Press has gotten the information beforehand, and it gets somehow spread to other people.
Oh,
you know, and these things happen on a regular basis to the point now where it either gives competitive advantage to people who know what's going to be in the decks and what's going to happen. Like say you know, like something in Tempo, like say Tempo Storm gets something, you know, like, and then all the players in Tempo Storm know about the format a month before anybody else does. That gives them a huge hedge in the meta moving in the beginning of the game. So like I think the strategy they're currently employing of, you know, we get 1 week maximum before it gets released is generally the best way to go about it.
Which that means put on the feed bags, boys, because when that comes out, we have like one podcast to talk about all the cards.
Oh boy.
Yep. It's gonna be the 6-hour podcast.
Yeah, right.
Set review.
We might just have to skip a lot of things. There's no in case you missed it, it's gonna be in case you missed it, there's a lot of cards.
Yeah.
Dude,
Moving on.
I think
set
that was a
reviews
good
is like
segment.
set reviews are my least favorite thing to do.
Really?
It's like,
What?
I like doing them, but
it's so painful. It's like such a marathon thing to do.
it is. Well, I think with the last one, it was over like 2 episodes. I think we did all the cards. We're like, and we're 2.5 hours in, and we're gonna come back and do the other half.
Man,
Yeah, but as a viewer, that's the one that I'm going to want to watch the most.
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah.
I don't watch many or listen to many Hearthstone podcasts right now. I don't have like the time generally. I'm not like traveling places to work or something. As like I don't have long card rides right now. But like I will definitely be tuning into a lot of people's YouTube videos, podcasts, those kind of things, because those are going to be the bread and butter of everybody, because those are important, because you want people's opinions during those time frames. You want to hear what their thoughts are on these new cards, because the more people you talk about, the better understanding you're going to get, because someone might see something that you don't see. They might be like, well, this card combos with this, and you're like, oh my, mind blown. Like, yes, this card's insane now. You know, I thought this was trash tier, but no, it's tier 1. It's amazing.
Yeah, like Silent Night, how everyone undervalued that card, and holy shit, it just came out on top. I mean, am I right? You with me, guys? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Number 1, tier 1.
Man, I'm so disappointed.
I just fucked up so hard.
What'd you do?
It's completely unrelated to Hearthstone. I was on Facebook on my other screen, and I was looking at a friend's picture, and I clicked on the picture, and there was someone in that picture that looked familiar. So I clicked on his picture, his like profile. I was going through his pictures, and I was mashing my mouse, and it went to tags one of my friends in his picture. So now I sent a request to this guy I don't know to tag one of my friends in a photo that they're not in.
Perfect.
So it's just sort of like one of those moments where I'm just like, what the fuck have I just done? So back to Hearthstone. We'll bury this.
You've ruined the internet. Congratulations, man.
We're done with the podcast now, guys.
Yeah, it's over, boys. I'm sorry.
So yeah, thanks for the emails, Vandio and Jake. I guess
keep them coming, boys.
Yeah. So we talked about the prelim stuff, right? Is there anything else to be said about that? Or Brad, do you want to talk about your deck plans, or are you gonna save it? What do you think?
I would prefer not to, just because
fair enough.
I have some spicy tech and going on potentially.
Spicy tech.
Yeah.
I have to make my decision within the next 24 hours on what I'm playing. I have a little less than 20. I actually have about 12 hours left before I have to make my deck decisions. So I'm not 100% sure. I got 3 of my decks lined up, pretty much set. And the 4th deck is one that I'm teetering between 3 different decks right now. But the thing to talk about for the North American one is what we should expect, I guess. I think we talked about this a little bit earlier. What we should expect is a lot of aggro based on the last one. And I think some players are going to also take the opposite strategy, which is just shit all over aggro is going to be their game plan. Now I don't think that's actually going to work personally. I don't know, but like I don't think it does because I think aggro is just so incredibly well tuned at this point and very powerful in this game. I mean, you get a card every turn. Like aggro gets to keep having fuel every turn, and druid, or I mean, and warlock zoo just gets to cards all the time. So I don't know. The aggro seems like the best lineup moving forward.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
I think
definitely
that's
aggro.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
Freaking aggro players, man.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, any of the thoughts? Forever hold your pieces? Anything?
Oh, I have another thought.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I hope that I don't know if you guys heard anything about this. This was kind of news, and I missed about it. I completely forgot about it.
We all missed it. Well, in case we missed it.
In case you missed it, I missed talking about it earlier. This last weekend, this has happened before in other events and stuff, so it's not like that big of a deal. But if you're participating, this is definitely something you want to do too. But there were people who had their Hearthstone accounts weren't linked to their actual names. So, for instance, when you played WoW in EU a while ago, before it was released in the EU, you'd get a North American account, and then you'd play from that. And so the people would use different names. And so some people had these old names still on their accounts and weren't able to play in the prelims. On top of that, some of the prelim locations were allowing deck trackers to be used. Other locations were not. The current ruling is no deck trackers, no notes, no like notepad and pen.
Really?
But like some locations, yeah, that's the rule. That's another reason to not play control, by the way.
Wow.
And knowing what your opponent has played and what you have left in your deck is a very important aspect to playing control. And if you don't have that aspect available to you, playing control becomes that much harder. Like the only way that you can manage that is like the level itself, like that you're playing on, like the map. Like sometimes if you're playing on the map and you can like bust the crystal out of the eye of the skull or something and be like, okay, that denotes that my opponent played one execute or something, you know, like that's the only tools you really get. But during the EU prelims, there were some locations that were allowing that to happen where you could use a deck tracker. So I think they finally cleaned that up. That's not going to happen. They sent out an email specifically to the players about that for the North American one, which is good because I really, if they're not going to allow notes, I would prefer that every location doesn't have that.
Wait,
then
why? What is the opposition? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah,
why
notes,
don't they want you
especially.
To use notes?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's odd.
I honestly, I think it's kind of,
100%
I understand it from like a what'd you say, Mushu?
I 100% recall watching on stream people take notes from the prelims.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
Bunny
Yeah.
Hopper, I'm 100% sure he took notes.
They did it Battle and Brew too. Yeah, you could use all that
No,
stuff.
but that's different. That's like obviously it's an event, but it's not a world championship event. This is
okay,
like
I got you.
Yeah,
like
this particular
100%
says that you
they
can't
took
use-
notes at last year's world championships. I think it's just dumb. I think
Yes.
obviously outlaw like not using deck tracker. That's like another issue entirely. In that it's like just you just sped up your note taking process.
I can see
I
the
mean-
reasoning of they don't want notes because they don't want it to take forever. You know, people who are taking notes generally are going to be taking longer during their turns. But I don't like the disincentive to play control. It immediately as I got that notice, as soon as I got that email that confirmed that I couldn't use notes, I changed my lineup. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what I changed, but like I definitely was like, okay, I'm not playing this deck now. Can't play this deck because this deck I have to know exactly what I've played and I have to know exactly what my opponent has played.
Yeah, I think it's personally, I think it's really silly not to allow. This is just my personal thought. It's just like I think it's silly not to allow deck trackers because it's just like you can just write out everything a deck tracker does.
Yeah.
It's just like
Right, but now you
extension of
can't.
that. Yeah,
So
it's just
I
it
think
seems
it's
like
silly.
such a dumb thing to do. It's just like not a fan.
I'm not
Like
a fan either.
you're rewarding people who like for some reason are innately able to hold more information in their brain. And it's just is that right? I don't know. I don't think it necessarily is.
Yeah, and
It's
I
just-
don't think and it also rewards the aggro player too, because as an aggro player, you don't care exactly what card you have. It's just like, okay, what's the best play in relations to what I designed my deck to do? You know, like I designed this deck to I designed Secret End to curve out. Okay, well, what turn is it? It's turn 4. All right, let's curve out. Like, okay, play the Piloted Shredder this turn. It's like, I don't really care what else is in my deck. I know for a most part what's in my deck, minus like maybe a card. I might have been like, oh yeah, I forgot I played that extra, or that second Noble Sacrifice or something, but it's still not going to affect your outcomes because you're still the proactive player. It generally, being able to not take notes or not record things or not keep track of things damages the reactive player. And in Magic, like, that's not a huge deal because you have a graveyard. You have a way to look back at what has happened previously in the game. In Hearthstone, you have that little like ticker on the side, but that only goes for maybe a turn. So you get to look back one turn, but you have no way to keep track of those other things unless you have a photographic memory or you have a really good retention rate on memory.
Ben Brode, please, graveyard. Bring it
Graveyard.
in. Yeah. Dude, I'm a huge proponent of the graveyard, but I know it's never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I think it's a great thing. It's another way to potentially reuse resources.
Yes. Yeah.
But at any rate, so that's something I wanted to note there. There was one other thing, but I can't remember it now. So, oh well.
All right.
Thanks, Bradley.
Yeah.
God. Oh.
Well, I think Just Soup has something.
If graveyards were a thing, how nuts would Fel Reaver be if we had some sort of reincarnate ability, like actual like
bring everything back into your deck or something?
So, well,
Reanimator.
Yeah, Reanimator. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, yeah, you Fel Reaver all your cards into your graveyard, and then you just like, okay, bring it back out of the graveyard.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Oh my god.
Hey man, maybe sometime. I don't think they will do it soon because, again, having a graveyard zone creates more objects on the interface, which is an issue for them. They don't want to. They want to keep the simplicity of the interface as is, and that makes sense because it's a digital game. They want to be able to manage it in a way that creates simplicity.
That'll be it for this week, episode 55 of the Death Rattle Crew. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Just search Death Rattle Crew. Email us at mail@deathrattlecrew.com. Do any of those things and you get points, and we do giveaways every month, so free stuff. That's all you can do is follow or write. That's it. You can find us on your podcast catcher of choice, iTunes, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, whatever it may be. Just search Death Rattle Crew, and we are live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. So for the rest of the Death Rattle Crew, I am Tac2, joined by Mushu, Just Soup, and Bradford Lee, and we will see you next week.
Oh, you did the Australia. I thought we were going to be done with that.
Oh,
guess not. I was going to give like a cool like ending, like be like, with the release or with the ending of Mushu's continued Australia, we now have to come up with a better ending for the future. That is why I'm posing a challenge to everyone in the Death Rattle Crew to come up with with an ending for each week's show or something stupid like that.
Can we start with the news segment tag, please?
Yeah.